begin with the conversion of a file, I want to point out two different programs. One is Format Factory, the other is Super, which is actually an acronym for Simplified Universal Player Encoder and Renderer. First, to look at Format Factory, you can see its URL up here. If you were to type in Format Factory into a Google toolbar, it would be able to direct you here as well. If I go to its main site and attempt to download it, it will usually automatically start, and in this case I'm going to cancel before it does. I already have the installer for that, as well as the one for Super. Super's installer is a little bit harder to find because the page loves to demonstrate how much more effective it is than other encoders to be able to do the same thing for free. So if you were to go to their homepage, you would go here and then you would go all the way down to the bottom of this page. Go to the Start Downloading Super link here. And on this next page you can see shortly near the top there is the Download and Use link. If you click on that and then follow the next page all the way down to the bottom again, you will be able to actually find the link to the installer that you can download and use that. So here we can see the Download Super Setup file. The most recent one is as of last July. They usually update theirs once or twice a year. So if I click on this, it will show me the installer, but once again I have the installers already here. The first, Format Factory. Format Factory is a rather versatile program for being able to install cleanly and being able to convert a wide range of files. I'm using it to demonstrate video, but it can also do audio and a number of other types of video and audio. It does support being able to just drag it and drop it into there, but you will have to be able to specify what you want it to come out as when you do so. The same thing for Super. So now it's created the uninstaller based on where I told it to install. I can click Next. So now if I need to, I can install extra codecs. I'm not going to because I'll be demonstrating what other codecs will be used later, but I do want to have it run as soon as I begin. I have it minimized, and so now I'll begin the Format Factory guided user interface, or graphical user interface. I can see I can drop a number of files into here, depending on what I want to convert them to. In the case of video, I have these options here. Being able to convert them into any number of them, and being able to customize them further from there. You can see also I have audio, different varieties as well. Pictures, if I wanted to, I could even convert this into a DVD type of format so that I could be able to burn it to disk later and have it be read as a movie file. For now though, I'm just going to go to Video and select Alt to AVI. Now the output setting up here is what you will want to use to be able to configure the, say, video size, which is the resolution as was seen in Virtual Dub. I want to keep it as default. By default, it will adjust itself to whatever the input file is, and it will retain that. Same thing for the bitrate and the frames per second. The audio stream is basically going to encode it as an MP3 at a fairly decent quality. If I wanted to, I could raise this up to the 300s. 320 is as high as an MP3 will allow. If I wanted to, I could also convert it to, say, a PCM type of WAV file, or an MP2 type of the MPEG format. I could just plain copy it from one form, or from the original to the end result, without it being converted at all. Just to keep it as a default, I'm going to leave it as an MP3. The encoding, you don't need to worry about. This is the same thing with the aspect ratio. The XVID MPEG-4, if I wanted to, I could convert it to any one of these. If I wanted to keep it at, or convert it to an ABC form, say I wanted to convert it to in an iPod-sized format, I could be able to pick whichever one of these would be most supported, make sure it's the right codec, and then be able to convert content. I've already picked these, so I can close this. And I have them saved to the staging area. The one is one type of format. Notice that it is a .flv, a flash video format. The other is an MP4. It is also a larger resolution, different file size and everything else. So now I'm going to drag and drop these into here, pick the all to AVI, click OK. For the output folder, I want to change this to the same as the original, output to source folder, click OK. And then I can hit start and wait for it to encode. This will transcode each of them from the type of formats that they are into an AVI, which can then, if I wanted to, be edited into virtual.mod or any other program that would allow me to select different scenes or extract the audio or anything else. For now though, I'm going to stop this because I already have it converted. Select yes. That is here in the videos. We have the montage here, and we also have the rocket sled demonstrated here. As far as format factory is concerned, that's about all there is to it. So now I'll move on to Super. We already have the installer for that. So now I'm going to now we'll begin the installation of Super. This one you may want to pay attention to during the installation process. And again, you want to make sure it doesn't change your home page, add a toolbar, or anything else. So in this case, I'm just going to agree without checking any of the boxes. In this case, I don't need another program that will supposedly go through and clean out my registry. Also, I want to make sure that it installs to a program of the same name. I don't need the company's name to be included as part of the folders in the program files. So I'm going to go ahead and leave these unchecked because I already have it installed as well. I don't want to install anything else aside from Super, so I'm just going to click install and wait for it to finish. So now that it's finished installing, I can finish this by just having it launch. So here we see the main window for Super. It has the option of being able to join identical files, but mostly we're going to be focusing on just converting existing files. Super has the drawback though of randomly changing the different options each time you start it. I'm going to change the output file saving management to begin with, make it sure it goes to the original folder as the input. Also, we'll get rid of the show useful hints, as well as showing me a screen on trying to close it. Now, for the output container, that will be the type of file, or the 3-digit extension. You can see this one will list all of them at once, and the video ones will be up here. I will select AVI again. By default, it will load the corresponding video codecs, and I can change which ones of those I want. So in this case, I'm going to select XVID again, and keep the output audio codec as an MP3. However, I will change the bitrate for the audio as seen here. I will change the bitrate to 128. If I wanted to, I could change the sampling frequency, which is one way of measuring the quality of an audio file. I will change this to 24, and this one back up to 128. The video copy, or the video section of this area, will demonstrate to you what resolution you want. It has pre-selected sizes. If you want, you can check the box for more, be able to see numbers of them. I'm going to select no change, and the frames per second, I will click more just to cycle through these. If I wanted to, I could specify one, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave the frames per second as they are. The bitrate I will want to raise from a mere 1,000 into something between 25 and 3,000. It has pre-selected bit rates, but you can pick whichever one you want. It will not allow you to insert one manually. Now, the output will be as you see it here. It'll show you the container, the codec for the video, and the codec for the audio. So in this case, I can just drag and drop the same files as before. To the area near the bottom, and if I choose encode, it will begin to go through them one at a time. One of the disadvantages to using Super as opposed to Format Factory is you can see that even though I changed the audio, it defaulted to 96 kilobits per second, and will now encode the two files using that, even though I specifically specified 128. And so, one of the reasons I would encourage using Format Factory is just because these settings are more consistent between inserting something and having it change when you tell it to begin encoding. We can see here that it's going to begin initiating. When this is done, it will proceed to go through and build the finished file one piece at a time, and by piece I mean so many thousands or so many kilobytes per second. So right now I'm just going to click cancel all because I already have it converted. We can see that it began to convert one. It appended the AVI to the existing file name. This has been cancelled, so now I'm going to go ahead and exit Super. As far as converting audio and video files, this is one of the best ways to do it because you can do them all as a batch. If you need to extract the audio first, then you may want to use Audacity or something else and just tell it to specifically encode it as an AVI file and extract the audio from it that way, or directly encode it to an MP3, an MP4, an FLAC, or whatever you may need at the occasion. So next we'll be moving on to other programs aside from video editing.